All right, guys. First step, making sure the rear tire has enough pressure in it. We got 41 PSI in there. Dope, dope. Oh no, we got to go up to 50. I'm gonna do it to 52 in case some air bleeds out. So this is important, especially if you haven't ridden your Dualtron in like, I'd say like 2 or 3 days. Check your air pressure, make sure it's good, because you may be riding and you know, you might need a little more air than you're supposed to have. So here we go, we got 52. You see, I love this thing. You guys may not be able to hear me very good because that stupid generator motor is going off in the background, but this Xiaomi electric air pump, and then I just turn it off, you just, you know, close the thing on. Come with this little pouch. I put this out in one of my Dualtron videos, one of my Victor walk around videos. Definitely want to get you this Xiaomi air pump. There's a little hold, there's like a waiting list for it right now, or they're not going to be until like late October, but it's definitely worth the wait. You can do your bicycles, you can do your Presta valves. So if you have that French style Presta valve, it has the attachment with this. It has the thing where you can pump up your basketball, your soccer ball, football, anything to use the long needle to put air in it. This comes with all of those attachments and recharges with the USB. Use it on your motorcycle, use it on your car. It's questionable on the car part because then your car may need like the amount of air that it needs to put inside of your car's tire. If your thing isn't full, if you don't have it like fully charged, it may die on you filling up your you know, your car tire. But if your car tire was flat because it had something going on and you fixed it and you just need to put air back in it, it will put enough air in it to get you to where you need to go. All right, so let's get this Dualtron set up so we can go and do this ride. All right, you guys, so this is going to be a 17-mile trip each way. Of the 17 miles, I think about 14.3, 14.5 miles of it is going to be uphill. We're gonna do this in single motor. Right now we got 66.7 volts. Let me reset the odometer. We got 66.7 volts. I just reset the meter. I'm gonna go on ahead and have this Relive app run in the background to record the ride so we have a different perspective. And this is gonna be a boring ride, okay guys? Don't expect this to be like, you know, eventful and all that other good stuff. This is going to be a very boring ride, but I want to see on single motor mode. Now we're heading that way towards Death Valley. Death Valley is literally the kiosk to pay to get into Death Valley is 17.5 miles away from here. So we're gonna, yeah, let's go, man. All right, let's go. Okay, as we ride off into the sunset, 18 miles per hour, okay? That is the speed. That is the speed we're gonna ride the entire time. Okay, yeah. Garmin is saying 17.8 miles per hour, but yeah, 18 miles per hour per speedometer on the Dualtron is the speed we're gonna do the entire climb. I don't know if you guys can see that long uphill. So this will be interesting. I'm gonna keep it at 18 miles an hour. I should not have to slow down for any reason at all, other than the backside, because the last 2.5, 2.3, 2.7 miles, I can't remember exactly how many miles, we're gonna get to the top, to the summit of this little 2,009 foot incline. And at the peak, there's going to be a nice downhill that you get pretty good speed on. So we're gonna like slow down for that. I might actually even have to ride the brakes for that downhill section, but the scooter right now is set to full send. We are on full send, and full send means P controller or I controller settings full send. The turbo is off. I have it on single motor mode, and we're on mode 2. I don't know if you guys can see that, you know, LED screens is kind of weird with certain cameras, but we're on mode 2, we're on speed 2. But every setting in the P controller, from the battery save, we have no battery save. I turned that off. I have the power, like the torque, set to 100%. We got everything that's related to power distribution and power usage. We got everything maxed out. I only just have it on single motor mode. There are talks about single motor mode. like, hey, you know, if you use it for too long, it's going to burn up. You might kill your controller. The motor has 2,000 watts. It's a lot of power for a scooter, for a motor itself. So the motor is not the issue. It's more of the controller, because the controller is like trying to put out all this power depending on how this hill treats the motors. It may try to use a lot of, you know, energy from the batteries to, it may use a lot of energy from the batteries to run the motors, so that we can, oh shit, little lizard, so that we can run this 20, what is it, 18 miles per hour the entire time. So we'll see how that all behaves. I mean, you know, it's just the rear controller, right? I mean, if the worst case happens, I guess I'll switch to dual motor and just run the front motor. Hopefully that actually works like that. and not no motors if the rear motor goes out or a rear motor controller goes out. But I think it'll be fine. The temperature I started at was like 84 degrees, I think. On the other side of this hill, that's where all the heat's trapped out. And that is why Death Valley is the hottest place on Earth when it's in its peak seasons, which is July and August typically. That's when it's usually its hottest. And it always records the highest temperatures on the planet, if you guys can believe that. They said basically due to the geographical, what I want to call it, attributes, I guess you can call it. It being, you know, all the heat. First of all, this is a desert. So then you got the heat trapped in the desert with the salt flats, and the mountains is pretty much trapping all the heat. So it just cooks, you know, when the hot air comes over the hills, over the mountains, if you want to call these mountains, which I guess I could call them mountains. They do go over 10,000 feet on the higher parts. Once the hot air goes over the mountains and it's hot and the sun's beating down, which is usually always is, it's going to cook. And there's no other place on the planet, I guess, in these type of desert conditions that has this type of, you know, these type of attributes to promote this type of these types of temperatures. 128. When I went there on my motorcycle, it was 129. In fact, it was so hot that my motorcycle temperature maxed out at 124 degrees. And once it went past 124, which is, you know, as you ride into Death Valley, because I took this exact same road on my motorcycle. Once it got to 124, it said 124. And then once it went past 124, it just said hot. It was pretty funny, actually. I'll put the link to that video if you guys care. You know, you guys are probably here for the scooters. But if you care to watch that trip, it was a pretty cool trip. I have like 5 or 6 parts to that actual motorcycle ride. But it was really, really cool. I had a really good time. But this is the road that I took going into Death Valley. And I took a different way going out, but it's not too far from here, actually, the exit. But yeah, motorcycle riding. He looking in his mirrors like, what the heck? Yeah, we're doing this, man. We're doing this. So far, we still got 100% battery. Let me just go on and give you guys some stats real quick. Volts is at 64.8. We started at what, 66.7? So we're at 64.8 right now. I expect that because I have about 400 and maybe 80 something. Let me see how many miles I got on this thing right now. 422 miles on the odometer. I do charge this thing fully and may not ride it for, you know, 5 or 6 days straight. I try not to do that, and you guys don't want to do that. You know, they always say if you're not going to ride it for a while, don't charge it past 80% battery. And we're at 64.7 still. So anyways, the battery, wait, was it 64 or 65? Yeah, it was 64. The battery sometimes, like, you know, like yesterday I did a ride and I rode 17.4 miles total. There was some really steep hills there. I was in dual motor mode, and I think the battery percentage, it only went down to like 94%. And technically and usually I would just leave it like that. You know, I would ride it a little bit, get the voltage, get the battery percentage down, and then and just leave it, you know, if I know I'm not going to ride it within the next few days. But I had a feeling, I was doing my logistical stuff, and I had a feeling that I was going to run out of time with my truck right exactly where, you know, where we started this trip right now. So yeah, that's actually pretty dope. I kind of saw this coming, you know, a little more than 24 hours in advance. I just, you know, doing your calculations. Of course, if nothing goes wrong, then everything's gonna go right. But yeah, it was pretty dope, y'all. I made it here, and I'm so glad. I really wish I would have been able to get in Death Valley, at least to where the end point for this trip's gonna be at. I wish I would have been able to make it that far. I just don't have enough driving time. You know, we're regulated by the by DOT, which is Department of Transportation, on how many hours we can work a day, how many hours we can drive in a day or within a 14-hour period per se. And my time, pretty much, I had about 8 minutes when I stopped at the parking little area that we started at. So at least this gives me a chance to see, guys, how durable is the rear motor? Is it like really bad? You know, is it something you really need to worry about? Now, this is a very long incline, which is probably just as bad as, you know, doing a shorter trip with a lot of steeper hills. You know, you're like doing this at a longer period of time. The temperature's really good. Like I said, it's like 84 degrees. It's gonna get cooler, of course, as the night goes on. But it just kind of gives you guys, give you guys an idea on how durable these controllers are. Because I guess the controller is the weak link in this situation. You know, when you look at how Dualtron set these scooters up, 30 amp controller, 21,500 series battery pack, and then you got the 2,000 watt motor. So, you know, I guess when you look at the motor being 2,000 watts, you know, it's probably, well, it's definitely stronger than the controller. So anyways, I'm gonna stop blabbing about. I'm gonna do some hyperlapsing, and yeah, see you guys when we get to the peak of the hill. Okay, I'll let you guys know what's going on. But we're at 64.5, so we lost 0.2 of a volt since I started recording and telling you guys how many volts we had when I started telling you how many volts we had. So see you in a little bit. All right, guys, so we're at the top of the incline. And from here on out, it's going to be downhill. So what does the Garmin say? We're at 11 miles. Remember, we're not halfway. We still got another 6 miles to go, but we're at the top of the incline. So from here, the rest of I guess it's going to be like 6 miles. It's going to be downhill. So this how many volts we got, man? 63.9 volts. Single motor the whole time, turbo off. 17.8 miles an hour according to the Garmin is what the cruising speed was once we were kind of like flat enough. When you start going up hills, you're going to lose the speed, of course. I mean, it's just how it is. But I think we dropped down to like 17 miles per hour, 17.1 versus 17.8. So that's actually not very, bad at all. So we're going to continue on down. 63.9. Remember, we started the ride at 66.4 volts. So let's see when we get back to the truck.
Hey, yo, who mans is this?
Oh shit, what the fuck? I'm curious to see what the voltage is going to be when we get back. Can't wait to see it.
How are you?
So I took off from the junction. I have my semi over there. I got 98% right now.
Oh, really?
Yep. And I only did the rear motor just out of curiosity, because why not, right?
That's awesome.
Yep. 98% battery. I started with 65 volts. I got 63. When it's flat, it's at 47 volts. Yes. So there's a lot of juice left. Oh, what's up, baby? I can take a picture. Yeah, I'm always good for it. How's it going? How you doing? Jason. Nice to meet you. Likewise. I'm Jason. How you doing?
So the story with these two guys, just to kind of skip over the video, is they were traveling. They said they took 5 months off to just travel around the U.S. So I'm not sure if they were actually American or not. The guy looked like he was European of some sort, maybe like East Bloc or something like that. And she was Asian. They had 2 cats with them. They only had one out of the van. The other one's probably a little more primitive, but very, very, very nice people. They were very cool, very happy. You can tell they were happy just watching them, and it just made me, you know, I appreciate seeing people happy. But these 2 guys, they were really cool. They were going to spend 2 days in Death Valley and then head over towards San Diego. They weren't on a specific time schedule because, like I said, they took 5 months off from work or wherever they do to travel the way they're traveling. They had a Ram van, the van you guys seen when I was pulling up to the sign. And yes, very nice people. Shout outs to them. I don't know if they're ever going to see this video, but if they ever do, that'd be pretty cool. Shout outs to you guys, and I hope you guys had a good time.
All right, those 2 people, guys, so they are on a 5-month tour, because I got to tell you now before I forget it. They're on a 5-month tour right now, where they like did a kind of a loop. They did 66, US 66, which you guys know go from Chicago to San Diego. They, yeah, so they did 66, then they went through Vegas, and now they're going through Death Valley. They said they might stay here about 2 days. They took 5 months off, guys, to travel everywhere, like, you know, to do the whole 66. That is super cool. One of those things that not very many people that I know, I don't think I know anyone who could take 5 months off and just travel like that, but these 2 guys they are, and they seem so happy, guys. I mean, you know, they got the nice little, what is that, a Ram van? Dodge product or Chrysler? I don't know who actually makes that, but it's a Ram van. And, oh my gosh, it's just, they look so happy, guys. And they got 2 cats with them, and they were taking pictures by the sign. They're probably gonna take a picture of the cat by themselves, because the guy had a cat that he was trying to take the picture with. You know, he was trying to just take the picture of the cat by itself. I kind of interrupted that coming in, but you know, when you travel like that, it's always cool talking to people, meet new people. You never know who you're gonna meet. I mean, you know, these guys, they aren't recording their session. So in case you guys are wondering or just curious, they aren't recording their trip. They're just doing it. And actually that's kind of better, because you don't put the stress on yourself of having to, you know, move videos from your cameras to a hard drive, or editing, or putting them together into a video. Like, you know, when I do stuff like what I'm doing right now, I try to get the videos off the cameras, which takes a while all in itself. And then you're trying to edit the video, you know, trying to put them together in order so that you can edit them later, you know, because I may not have time to edit. I may have to just take them off the camera just to make space on the memory cards, and then go from there. So, yeah, they don't have to worry about the stresses of that all in itself. So I may meet them up here at the kiosk, and if I do, I'm gonna let them know that it's actually free right now. Death Valley is not charging. They got the pay stations, but you don't actually pay. They just got it open or whatever. I went to go pay when I first started to come through here with my truck. I actually went to go pay, because I was like, oh, dang it, they're gonna have like a booth or something like that. And there is no booth on either side of, you know, of Death Valley. There's no booth to come in, there's no booth to leave. So something very interesting, guys. I have my, let me get this out of the way. I have my regen on 3, which, if you guys know, you got 0 for off, then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? 5 is gonna be the strongest regen. I have my regen set to 5. I'm sorry, set to 3. And I am absolutely not getting any energy back. There is no energy at all. We was at 64, or was it 63.4 volts at the very top of the incline, and we're still at 63.4 volts going down this hill for the 6 miles. We're almost at the 6 miles, right where this car is. Let me see. There's some orange cones. You guys won't be able to see it. This camera doesn't have that type of depth of field. But when we get to the kiosk, that is going to be 17.4 or 17.5 miles, and we're going to be at 63.4 volts. So I am absolutely not gaining any energy, guys. So what does regen actually mean? That's the question. I don't think anyone's ever even like tried to figure this out. There's no regen. And I was always skeptical about a regen, because I've never noticed me getting energy back. The only time I've noticed energy going back into the system is when I'm touching the brakes. That's it. There was never any, here we go. Just about at the turnaround point, Garmin's making noise saying, hey, look, you know, 3% of your ride is left. All right, so this is where the kiosk is, coming from the east side of Death Valley.
East side?
Now see, I hit the brakes, 64.5. Getting a little.
When possible, make a U-turn.
getting a little bit of energy back. So here's a kiosk to kind of show you guys. It's been off. This thing's been off. You know, I don't know. Maybe you can put. Okay, so people have put something inside of there. It's just so this kiosk is off. You know, there's nothing here. Oh, okay. Well, it came on. Press the start button, right? Press the start button. Okay, so all right. I apologize. It is working. You do pay when you come in. There's no one. I'm not going to say anything about it. Look, it's working. So,
before I continue, just so you know, if you are military, active duty, or veteran, you get in for free. Just make sure if you're bringing a camper, check with regulations if you need to have a camper set up somewhere specific.
Here we are, Death Valley. We're at the turnaround point. I'm going to turn around because looking at the sun, you see how much mountains, there's a lot of mountains right there just below the sun. So I literally got about 10 minutes before that sun goes behind the mountain, and I'm just going to be riding into the dark. So here we go. Death Valley is pretty cool, but I won't tell you guys much about it if you guys want to be lazy and not look it up yourself. When I actually get to do my Death Valley videos with this Dualtron Victor, we're going to tour Death Valley with the Victor. I'm not sure if we're going to get to do everything that I want to do, but we're going to get to tour Death Valley, okay? Look at this beautiful scene. It's so quiet. I actually kind of can't wait to go to sleep tonight because it's going to be pretty dope. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna turn around. We're gonna go back. I'll give you guys a summary when I get when I get to the end point. We'll do a quick summary and we'll see what goes on. All right, there's a cop coming, and yeah, see you guys. This is highway patrol. The fuck? Anyways, I wonder if someone called and say, "Hey, there's a guy on a freaking scooter out here." You know, people are weird sometimes. I just don't recommend doing this, guys. That road, you know, there's cars going 55 miles an hour. At least the speed limit is 55. People are probably doing like 65, 70 to be honest, because this is kind of desert conditions. Oh, real quick before I continue blabbing on, all my range tests up till date. So what the date is? Look at the date of this video. All of them has been without the lights. All my lights have been off in all my videos. I haven't been doing my range tests or these long distance rides with lights on. There was only one situation where I put the lights on when I was in Vegas and I was actually riding that night. And that was only like a 38-mile ride and I still had like 64% battery left. So, and it was like 60 volts. It was like right at 60.2 or 60.3 volts. So, yeah, just so you guys know. But as soon as it gets dark, these lights are coming on, player, because yeah, your boy ain't trying to get mauled over. At least I give myself a fighting chance of being seen. Turn this camera off. At least I give myself a fighting chance of being seen. And gosh, guys, hate to see it. Anyways, see you at the end. See that? So what happened was on the display, and I wish I would remember exactly what it was that showed up. The two times that I did go off the road, it did this. So those are like right between the speedometer, like the two digits, right? This right now, because I'm not moving at 00. Right between the two 00s, there was like a little thing, a little emblem on the top, and the brake lights were on. The scooter wouldn't go. It's like it applied the brakes and it kept the brakes applied. And I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? The scooter wouldn't go. And then I started moving it backwards and then eventually it started going. And I was like, yo, what's going on, B? So I don't know. But look, we're at the very top. We're at the summit, right? So we're at 69% battery and at 60 volts at the very top of the 2,000 foot descent. So let's do this. The speed, now the cruise control would, well, the scooter in period, it just wouldn't go over 16 miles an hour if I'm not mistaken. And I noticed that once the battery hit about 78%, that's when I looked at it and noticed that it wouldn't go. It could be higher, like before it starts to slow the scooter down a little bit. So in speed mode 2, full send, everything full send, but rear motor only, the speed wouldn't go over 16 miles an hour. So I wonder what it's gonna do. It's probably gonna go to 18 or something going downhill. I don't know. But like I told you guys, I didn't notice a regen. So what I'm going to do going downhill is I'm going to turn the cruise control off and see if it regens. So that's what I'm going to do different right now. So like I said, we're at 69% battery, 60.6 volts. Let's get it.
Just a FYI, the Victor actually never regened all the way down the hill. There was a certain part where it went, the descent went to 2%. Once it hit 2%, I let off the throttle and let the scooter go free roll, and it actually started to regen at a 2% descent. So anything 1%, it was pretty much 1% most of the way. It didn't do any regen. I actually lost about 1.6 volts going down just from the scooter being on with the lights on. All right, back to the video.
Guys, so, oh my gosh, Brian, turn it down, please. All right, so that's the end. Whew. Tell you what, let's go inside the trunk and we'll talk about it. Oh my gals and girls, as I sit here and wonder, how you guys like that performance from the Victor? It's very interesting to see. I absolutely got no energy, no regen whatsoever. Now I did try, it was maybe about 200 feet of the downhill where I knew it got a little steep. I kicked the cruise control off, and with a 2% downgrade, there was two factors. Oh yeah, it was on single motor, 2% downgrade, and darn it, what was it? I guess it was just a 2% downgrade. Oh, and cruise control off, it started to regen. If I had the cruise control on, it wouldn't regen, and it went from 59.4 to 59.8 volts, and then the battery percent went from 58% to 63% battery. So if you guys want to get any type of regen out of your Victor, or Dualtron for that matter, the Dualtrons, well, let's just go with the Victor for now. The Victor set up where you get enough of a descent, it has to be 2%. 1%, I wasn't getting anything on 1%, but when it went down to 2%, descent, I started to regen. So yeah, 2% decline, and you'll pick up some energy as long as you don't have the cruise control on, because with the cruise control on, it wasn't doing anything. Basically, the voltage that we had left when we got here, that was pretty much just voltage left from just the scooter being on. The motor did come on a few times to kind of, because sometimes you're going downhill, then it kind of flattens out. It might go slightly up and then it starts going down again. So for those little slightly up sections, the motor would kick in, and so that's basically what we used up going back. So, and not to mention, there was a headwind, a pretty good headwind going back. Going out there, we didn't get anything until I got to the last, it was like a last 1.8 miles, 1.6 miles. So yeah, very interesting range test, I guess you could say. We still got back with more than 50% battery, so that was impressive. And that's 50% battery and 50% volts. So something about the volts in the battery, right? I could be wrong. So if you guys are like extremely knowledgeable, let me go get my seat. If you guys are extremely knowledgeable on this stuff, then please correct me, because the last thing I want to be is wrong about something that I think I'm right about. But what I'm getting out of the voltage versus the battery is, the volts, to me, the way I'm seeing it, is like how much power you got, like your torque, versus the battery percentage is like how much power is just in the system in general. The battery percentage was moving much more than the volts were. And I started thinking, and I was like, why is the battery percent declining faster than the volts? The volts is barely moving, because I wasn't using any juice going down the hill, or almost hardly any juice. But the battery, I was definitely using battery life. I had the lights on, I turned the lights on, and the display, the eye display, the extra LED board lights, which doesn't really use much power, by the way. I don't think you're gonna really lose much range. If you're gonna run the whole, let's just imagine I tried to do a 72-mile range test. I'm not doing that. But let's just say I was going to do a 72-mile range test with the lights on, like just with the lights on to see the difference. With 72 miles, we might not get 72. I would say you'd probably get about 69 miles instead of 72. Like, that's how much of a difference I think it'll make when you're looking at that long of a ride. You know, if you're just riding around 30, 40 something miles, I wouldn't even worry about the lights being on. It's just probably not really going to do much of you know, probably won't do much to you. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Like, I think the volts and the battery percentage, I think they're on par with each other. They seem to be on par with each other as long as you're not juicing your scooter. If you're out there juicing your scooter, I could see the one's going to show a higher value than the other. But if you're just cruising, if you're kind of having like a linear style of riding, I could see the battery life and the volts are going to be kind of kosher with each other. When I did my range test, I think my battery went to 0%. And when my battery was at 0%, my volts was still at, what was it, 50? It was 50 something, man, like 53, 54 volts still with 0% battery left. So I was like, how does that even work? Like, it actually kind of goes against what I just said. But anyway, so just forget what I just said. I'm going to still actually put that in the video, everything I just said. But anyways, I call that a blooper. Thanks for watching, guys. This stuff's like, it takes a while to do this. I took a lot of time out of my, you know, 21, 2, I got maybe about 5.5 hours so I can go to sleep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these little GoPros, I'm going to take the memory cards and upload them to my tablet and then just kind of edit them. I got to write some notes down so I don't forget. And yeah, man, just like and subscribe, guys, please. It supports the channel, even though my channel got a long way to go before I start getting monetary value for this. But I really enjoy doing this, but I want you guys to show me that you appreciate me doing it by hitting that like button and subscribing. And you definitely hit the notification bell because there's always videos to be uploaded. Somebody wanted me to do a 30-mile-an-hour range test. That's a little extreme. Hit the like button if you want to see a 30-mile-an-hour range test. Jesus Christ, I don't even, the guy said, he said, look, I don't think you're even gonna get 30 miles out of it. He might be right, but who the hell's throwing 30 miles an hour for the entire duration of the battery of the scooter? Anyways, if you want to see that, give me a like, man. Share the video with people you know might want to watch content like this. And yeah, man, if you guys haven't ordered your scooter yet, hurry up, man. The season's coming around, you know. You could be spending all this time modifying your scooter. I'm gonna come up with a different name for myself. I know I call myself Jay on the Segway because I kind of started off with Segways. My friend Wade, the one who did the stem video with me, you know, with the creaking of the stem on a scooter, he called me something when I had this little mask on, so I think I might go with that name if no one else on YouTube's taking it. But yeah, man. All right, guys, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna put these videos on the tablet, go to bed, and don't know when the next video is coming out, but I got 3 videos right now that I need to put out. So stay tuned, guys. All right, peace.